coming to you live from Numancia, Aklan, in Western Visayas, in the Philippines. I'm having my morning cup of coffee, my coffee with Ginno cup here, my Copico Blanca. Copico Blanca is a 3-in-1 coffee here. Coffee, cream, and sugar all in one. Powder form, you just put it in your cup, put hot water, and you're good to go. Really inexpensive way to drink coffee. This Copico Blanca pack is 7 pesos each. 10 of these I can purchase. They come in a bag, plastic bag, 70 pesos or $1.50 for 10 cups of coffee. I always start my live stream with my weather report. I do not want to disappoint my friend Vegas Will in Las Vegas. Today, as of 3 a.m., there is a low pressure area that is east of Borongan City in eastern Samar. Also, the easterlies continue to affect the country. Luzon is what they're saying here, the easterlies. Metro Manila, Calabarzon, Bicol, Mindoro, Romblon, cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms due to the low pressure area. The rest of Luzon easterlies, that's that winds from the east. And the rest of the country, just localized thunderstorms. All right, good morning, Belus, my good friend in Wyoming. All is well, all is well. Today it looks like it's raining outside this morning, but that's good because we could use the rain. This actually hasn't been a wet, rainy season, in my opinion. I've seen worse here in the Philippines where it just got, and I'm sure you have too, Beluis, where it just rains. But this August and September, actually, we've been getting more sun than rain. Fall rain. All right. God bless, Beluis. I was just watching on YouTube. I saw that they caught the person that shot and killed Charlie Kirk. Again, just so tragic. My prayers go out to Charlie Kirk's family, especially for his kids. It's like really young kids. I know they're that's just devastating. That's just devastating. And to me, it's like I try not to get political on our channel. I'm not either Republican, I'm not either Democrat. I always just vote for the candidate. That's always, I don't side, I think both sides, Democrats and Republicans, I think some people just have taken it to another level. I think the debate in America, it's like people are just so divided. They're set on their ways. You can't tell them either way. But I just try to listen to both. I try to listen to both. A lot of the stuff that happens in the United States doesn't affect me here anyway. In the Philippines, I live a peaceful life here. That's why I like it here. I like the 14 years here. But to me, I've watched Charlie Kirk before. I've seen his YouTube channels when he debated the college students. I enjoyed watching his videos. I like the way he approached things. He was not combative. He respected the students. Like in the U.S., when you're like a college student, a lot of times not many people listen to you anyway. It's like you're a young kid. What do you know in the world? But he was open for dialogue. He would listen to them, and he would praised them. Hey, you make a good point. You know, it's like he was not the type of guy when I would watch him. He didn't give me the impression that I don't like watching people that are know-it-all. You know, that when they talk online or when they talk, they just know it all. I don't like watching those people. I like people that see the other person's opinion, respect the other people's opinion, and that's what I saw with Charlie. That's why, to me, it's just so unfortunate that they took him away from us, because to me he was a great man, good person. He could have helped. He could have helped the country. Just my opinion. He could have helped the country. He was doing well with the youth. He was reaching out to the youth, and that's what's important. The youth is the future of America. Hi, all right, Alexis Valenzuela. Yes, you good. All right. I like your glasses. Oh, thank you. I like the glasses too. I've had this type of glasses now for every time I replace it, I go with this brand. It's a Dior Superflex. Really light. You know, I like it. I get the transition lens on it. So when I'm outside sunny, you know, I get like the sunglasses effect. They dazzle. Oh yes, of course. I love dazzle. Of course, that's the love of my life. Brian, Texpat. Good morning, my good friend in Galveston County, Texas. Good morning. Fortune. Good morning. Rainy day here, Fortune. Finally, we're getting a rainy day morning. And today we're headed to Rojas City today. Later on this morning, I'm gonna wake up Dazzle, her usual, maybe a little bit early to wake Dazzle up so we can head to Rojas City. We're gonna attend Lara's birthday today. It's less than 2 hour drive. I'll say 2 hours because I take my time, especially if the roads are wet. I'm super careful, extra careful when the roads are wet. Yes. I'm not guaranteed that we're gonna go to the Beaver, but we are going to the party, to Lyra's party. I'm not a drinker, you know. It's like I'm not really a drinker. And then we're bringing our friend Gray, and he's not, you know, he's not. How would I say this? He doesn't like hanging out with expats, you know. Let me put that way, you know. It's like he prefers hanging out with me and Dazzle, you know. He prefers so we. But of course, you know, we're gonna see Mike and Kat. They're our friends, you know. Dazzle and Kat, they're good friends. Greetings and salutations, HD. Greetings and salutations. Yes, what a tragedy. Yes, Belus, you know, to me, you know, the more I watch it now, you know, I'm watching, you know, I'm glad they caught the person. Hopefully, you know, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't bring him back to us, you know. It's like unfortunate that we lose great minds like that. That's what I'm, you know, good people, good family man, and also great mind. There's not many great minds in the United States anymore, right? For me anyway, when I watch it, you know, I'm watching like, you know, very few, especially that young, 31, the future, you know. It's like, to me, that's quite a loss for America. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Mom. Rest in peace, Canadian Beaver. It was good while it lasted. Lowell, kumusta? From Oregon. Hey, Lowell, kumusta? Kumusta kapatid, Lowell? Thank you for joining the live stream this morning, Lowell, from Oregon. God bless, my friend. God bless. I accidentally, oh, no worries. You're back. That's the main thing. So far, it's dry. See, now we switch. Fortune. It's dry in Bacoor, Cavite. Now it's wet here in our area. But it has, to me, this to me, in our province here, it hasn't been the typical rainy season. August and September to me has been mild as far as rain. But rainy season's not over. It can turn up in October. We still got the whole, more than half of September and then October. So it could still, they were predicting we were going to get maybe 4 typhoons this September, but so far I think we've only had 1. Technical, hi, technical. How are you? I'm doing good. Just getting my day started. Coffee here. I did take a shower already because after the live stream, I got to pack, wake up Dazzle, and then we're gonna get our friend. Then we're gonna head to Rojas City, this morning. About a 2-hour drive from us, and I know the birthday party's at 3. So we want to be there at least on time. Safe travels. Thank you, Lowell. We're looking forward to it. We don't go, we maybe go to Rojas City maybe every 2-3 months. We make a few trips to Rojas. Usually it's when I would take people to the Canadian Beaver. It's when I go to Rojas City. There's people that come to Calibo, see us, and they go, hey, I want to see the Canadian Beaver. And then we take them to the Canadian Beaver. I think HD might, yes, Mike did not close the Canadian Beaver. He just closed that mini farm where they were trying to raise crops for the Canadian Beaver just to cut costs, but he finally cut costs on the mini farm because it was not producing enough produce to the Canadian Beaver. But not the Canadian Beaver is not closing. Heck, they just added more to the menu. I was like looking at, they add the kare-kare. They had kare-kare to the menu and some, I think, I can't remember if it was caldereta, but I saw kare-kare they added to the menu. Oh, thanks for clearing that up. I thought it was the Beaver. No, not the Beaver. They're not closing the Beaver. I saw the video yesterday. Another friend of ours, David, he was being interviewed. They did a video. Him and Mike did a video. David's from Iloilo. He's a Air Force guy too, like 4 years. He was in a Air Force veteran. He had a video about closing his business. Oh no, it wasn't about closing his business. The title might have you might have thought because of the title, but he was closing the mini garden or mini farm. Like even Mike admitted he's not a farmer. He said he had experience like a little bit in the farm when he was a kid, but he's not like James. James, man, James and Karen's adventure. He's a pro, man. James, he can tell you about farming. He can tell you about soil. He can tell you about fertilizer. He can tell you, man. James he's the knowledgeable farmer. Too bad he couldn't set up that farm. Maybe James could have James too busy though. James got his own farm YouTube channel, so. But if you need information on like homesteading in the Philippines, knowing different areas, he's learning. James is learning now Masbate, Balete, Aklan. He knows how to make a homestead here, farming here. He understands. A lot of knowledge when it comes to farming. Fortune, it says, Mike out of a mini farm so he can... Yeah. I've been kind of following that mini farm for a little bit. They even Fortune, they had made that screen, kind of like a greenhouse effect, I guess. I'm not familiar, but they were like trying to separate, but it was just not producing enough veggies for the Canadian Beaver. Yeah, the soil probably, because it's near the ocean, it's like near, Not that I know about soil. I don't know nothing about farming. I am not a somebody to ask. I've never done any farming in my entire life. I kind of expected he will cut losses in that mini farm because it wasn't yielding as expected. Yeah. It's hard. I mean, people think farming is easy. I've looked at farmers here, even in a clan. It's like I talk to people that have farms here. It doesn't seem like it's an easy process. A lot of hard work for sometimes little output. It's not. Raising your own crops, and that's not there's a lot goes to it. Now that I'm understanding, seeing more of it. I've been around it here. I have neighbors here in our gated community. They own farms right outside of Camellia, and they sometimes give us bananas, things like that. But they tell me you have to fight like pests. You have to you have to fight drought. You have to fight rain. I mean, there's just a lot involved, in farming. It's like it's not easy. It's not easy. It's the thing to do. If he can get better soil, if he works on it. Yes, it takes time and work. HD. I heard that HD from James too. I noticed James throws from the pig pen, from their pig pen, the poop, the poop of the pig. He'll throw that in the soil. He'll have the chickens doing the soil. So I know there's ways, and James is an expert with that. But Mike don't have time for that. Mike had to trust it to other people to do it because I've never seen a more busier person than Mike. I mean, Mike's running a YouTube channel. He's running Kat is running a restaurant. They got Lara. He's a busy person. So, he just doesn't have that time to devote to a mini farm like that. Hey, Gavin B, long time no see. My good friend in Brisbane, Australia. What's up, Gavin B? Must be your lunchtime. I don't know. Usually when you watch our live stream, it's on your lunchtime. You eating breakfast, Mom? What's your breakfast? Mom is Oh, okay. Mom is cooking oatmeal and she's eating crackers. I was hearing in the back of my ear, Mom's eating something. But she is making oatmeal. I'll probably have some of the oatmeal because Mom always makes extra on the oatmeal. Michael Manalastas. Good morning, brother. Good morning, Michael. Glad you can join the live stream this morning. I was just gonna do the live stream. Dazzle is still sleeping. Once Dazzle wakes up, we'll pack up and we'll pick up our friend Gray in Calibo, and then we're gonna head out to Rojas City this morning. So that Mike bid adding in the menu. It's good strategy to more Filipino foods can go. Yes. I mean, it's that was really smart of them. I'm a fan of kare-kare, man. So if I go to the Canadian Beaver, that's my first order. It's kare-kare. It's that kare-kare is it's kind of peanut butter sauce. That's got eggplant, string beans. What else is there? But sometimes bok choy, and then the common thing that people do now with kare-kare, usually it's beef. Beef. Sometimes the pork knuckles. But now they're doing a crispy kare-kare. I'm seeing more crispy, and I love it. I'm a fan of crispy kare-kare. Crispy kare-kare is it's like the pork belly with the fat and the skin. Here in the Philippines, they love skin here. It's almost like with the pork. I know that's not common in the U.S. Usually, that skin is chopped off usually, and fat is chopped off. Probably healthier pork chop in the U.S. But here they cook the whole skin, fat and pork, and slice it in tiny squares, thin slice, almost kind of like a crispy fat bacon. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? How can you go wrong with that? And they make it a crispy and they add the sauce. It looks like a deconstructed kare-kare. Usually kare-kare is all mixed in a stew, like a pot. But now it's like they make it fancy in a plate, and they serve it like the sauce. They top it with like the crispy pork, and then they line the veggies around it. Kind of like what I saw. That cat, Catherine was like putting it on the table. I was like, I could see the eggplant, I could see the string beans. I was like, man, I gotta order that the next time I go to the Canadian Beaver. And it's a good strategy. I mean, that's what you gotta do, right? You gotta I remember when they introduced like seafood, and now they're introducing Filipino food, because there's Filipinos that, it's not just expats that go to. Every time I'm at the Canadian Beaver, it's half and half. Half expats, half Filipinos that go to the Canadian Beaver. I like Mike's interview with David, especially when David showed a map of the Philippines. All right, I watched through the whole video. I saw that. They went through the different areas. Yeah. I met David, met him in Iloilo. We kind of sat down together in Iloilo. And then he went here to Calibo. We went to the 8 Ball Tavern Cafe with David. So, showed a map of the Philippines with the regions color-coded. It was updated, including the newly... Oh, I'll have to watch the video again. I didn't know, I can't tell. For me, the map, it's a legit map. It's a legit map, like a hard copy map, and they were going through the different areas. He'll be at that party too, because I thought he said he extended his stay in Rojas City, so I'll see him today too. That's why I shake my head when they pave over, develop it into homes. There is not that many arable land. Okay, I don't know what that is, HD. I don't know what arable land, but that is common. I mean, that is common here, HD. How the farm area is becoming subdivision. Our community, Camille Aklan, these used to be all rice field here. The now over 300 homes sitting in this gated community that I live, cement, street cement, sewer, sewage line, everyththing. This used to be all farm. And even now, the back area, it's still farming. There's still a lot of rice field. When you come out of our subdivision, when you make a left or right, there's still a farm area. It's mostly still farm area here, but they just built this subdivision. The Villar family, they bought the rice field land, and then they made it into a subdivision. It's common. I mean, not just here, all over the Philippines. That's what's happening, because not many people want to do farming anymore. HD, it's like the new generation of Filipinos. They don't want to be farmers. It's hard work. Farming is hard work. Yeah, most farmers don't want their kids to be farmers. Is what I'm seeing. Most of them want to send their kids to college, want them to go abroad, want them to become seamen, wants them to be nurses, want them to be doctors. Farming is just hard work. And a lot of times what I've seen, anyway, in our province, I see it, is they just don't make a lot of money in farming. Usually it's somebody that owns a big portion of land, and the farmers here work on the land, but they don't own the land. And, they get paid peanuts. They don't make money for hard work. I've seen them out here, like in the, they still use carabao here to plow. Imagine plowing the land with that carabao. You're all muddied up in the sun, in the heat, all day long. I mean, you can tell the guys that are farming here on the rice fields. I see them when I'm on Bumblebee or Tricycle. Man, these are rip. They're like ripped dudes. Like they're, you can tell they're like all like muscle. It's like they're not big, bulky, but you can just, they got like that Bruce Lee kind of body. It's like no fat, just like muscle, and they're like leather skin, because even though they wear long sleeve hat, at one point, the sun's, you're still gonna be working underneath the sun, but I've talked to them before, and they just don't make money. It's like farming, especially farmers here. They're basically just hard help. Hard for them to like build like a land of their own, home of their own. A lot of them work the land, but they don't own the land. So a lot of them don't want that for their kids. Whatever they can raise money, or their kids can attend college here at the government university, they push them. So that's why I think less and less people are doing farming in the Philippines, just because even the farmers themselves, they don't want their kids doing the farming. We did amazing this quarter, up 300% on, wow, 300%. Congratulations, Belus. That's a record. All right. You and Dazzle come see our farm sometimes, Jane. All right. Thanks for the invitation, Belus. Don't be surprised if I take you up on that, Belus. Yeah. I have to talk Dazzle into getting on a plane. She doesn't like to fly, so maybe a ferry. I know Dazzle would ride a ferry. But thank you so much, Belus, for the invitation. When fitness meet Rhea, my good friend in Tennessee, you are so right. Farming is no joke, and it's expensive. Oh, hi, Ginno. Good morning. All right, I know. I see it. It's like I talk to like farmers here in our province, outside Numancia. We have friends that in this gated community, they own land, and then they hire people to farm it. I have one of our neighbors here. He's got like a chicken coop, like chicken, and he's got like thousands of chicken. I mean, they produce like so many eggs. Truck. They have a truck. They bought that new Toyota Tamaraw, and they be stacking eggs in there. They're a supplier of eggs, but none of that is easy work. None of that is easy work. And then it's hard. Like even the ones that it's hard to convince the new generation now to work on that. Because they see the hard work. You see the farms here, like even when I go outside Camellia in the farms, it's the older people that are still farming. You see guys like in their 50s, 60s, 70s still farming. You don't see many young people. You don't see many young people farming. And I know that's not good, right? Because we still got to produce. Still got to produce our own rice here in the Philippines, or our own produce. But it is what it is. It's like the younger people, the newer generation. It's getting hard to convince them to work in a farm. Negros Occidental, where Bacolod is, was formerly Western Visayas, while Negros Oriental was Central Visayas. All right. Thank you, Fortune. I love the history lesson here, Fortune. I've been to both areas. I've driven on the west side of Negros Island, going down to Dumaguete, and then coming back up to on the eastern side of Negros Island to almost made it to San Carlos, but Dazzle and I, instead of going to San Carlos City, we went up Mount Canlaon. So we got on top of the volcano. We got to see the top of the volcano in our car. And our little tiny Wigo made it up that Mount Canlaon. Now is one region, Negros. I wouldn't mind doing that drive again. I enjoyed that drive. Yeah, driving through lots of sugarcane fields, and then the only bad thing about, I remember, she's going to make that. All right. I got a good message from my good friend Gray. We'll pick him up later. I saw it on my WhatsApp, so I saw the message, Gray. I saw the message. All right. But I do want to make that trip again to Negros. That was fun. Lots of sugarcane fields. The only thing when you drive on the highway, if I don't know if it was because when we drove it was like harvest season. Man, there were so many of those World War II type trucks, gigantic trucks, and they got these stacks of like sugar canes. Man, they are stacked like 20 foot high, 30. I mean, they were like stacked high. Sugar cane was falling off actually from it, and you're like driving your car behind it, and you're like, man, sugar cane's falling. I'm like, weaving through the highway. You know, it doesn't really matter if you pass one, because if you pass one, there's like 12 more. You know, it was just crazy, crazy driving. But me, I just take my time. I got behind one of them, and I had Dazzle just start filming. So, we always make a good of any situation. So, but it was still a good experience because I've never seen that before. I never seen like harvest of the sugar cane. And when they harvest the sugar cane, you see like plumes of smoke because I guess they burn the fields, and we saw that on our trip to Negros. Negros Island is the sugar capital of the Philippines. They produce more sugar cane, more sugar than any part of the Philippines. It really makes me laugh when my son told me he's quitting his office job to be a farmer. Not to be a farmer. Ria, I know you're laughing, Ria. Farmer ain't no joke, and people think it. I know it's not easy. That's why I never did it. That's why I never did farming. We tried raising certain vegetables here in Tennessee. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I tried a little bit, when I lived in the U.S., on pots, you would raise like tomatoes, like tomatoes or just like potted, peppers, like jalapeno peppers. I remember I raised that in a pot. You just buy a lot, you buy the seeds and then tomato, but you raise, it's kind of like what mom has set up here now. She's got like, these potted vegetables here now. It didn't last. Michael C, my good friend in Trece Martires in Cavite. Good morning, Michael C. Edgar, it was too small of an operation to save any money. His vegetables were costing more. Yeah, I think that's what Dazzle and I, we had the discussion about that. One time we had the discussion because Dazzle, on our land in Katiklan, Dazzle's been planting there a lot of and she keeps saying, oh, I want to plant this, I want to plant, and me, I'm always supportive. I say, hey, go for it, babe, plant it. But I'm looking at it. It might be cheaper just to buy it at the market. But hey, it's like it's good to support the wife. Of all her endeavors. As long as it makes her happy. To me, it's worth the cost. It's worth the cost. But she's enjoying it. Actually, Dazzle's planning. Soon she wants to go because she wants to show you guys like the plants that are growing on our land in Katiklan. The banana trees, the papaya trees, the eggplant, those things. She said if she gets good signal, she thinks she can get good signal, she would do a live stream. Mom and her, right, Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mom said mom and her, they're gonna go to Katiklan, and they're do a live stream at our land in Katiklan.
And we do cooking also.
Oh, Mom said they're gonna do cooking also. Outdoor cooking, right, Mom? Yes. Mom saying they're gonna do outdoor cooking, like old school Filipino cooking on the ground. They just got these metal things on the ground, and then you put wood underneath. They got these pots that they cook. So the province way of cooking. So that's Dazzle and Mom's plan. So they'll make a video of outdoor cooking like that. And then thanks to Edgar's donation, because Edgar had made a donation to the cooking show. So they want to do an outdoor cooking show in our land in Katiklan, and then do a live stream there. They plan on doing that hopefully soon, depending on the weather. It's the weather. When it's raining, you can't cook outdoors when it's raining. We gotta keep an eye on the weather. Michael, my family used to be rice and vegetable farmers. I remember we used a lot of pesticides. I hope the Philippines, yeah, I think they are. You know, I think I do see more products. They'll advertise. They'll put organic, but I do see still pesticides. You know, it's like when I go past the rice fields here, there's actually signs. You know, like the pesticide thing that they use. I guess when you buy pesticide, they you know that you have to plant on that the pesticide use, because when I'm driving to the rice fields here, I see like signs that have pesticide sign. So I'm thinking that's probably what they use on that rice field. Time as a resource can be scarce. I've become very picky on where I put it, including what videos I watch. Is one of the places. Oh, thank you so much, HD. That's so kind, brother. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Very kind comment. Thank you so much, HD. Fortune, I kind of suggested to Mike to get the map too and put some text on the places. Oh man, I know, right? Mike's been everywhere. Mike's been to more places than me here in the Philippines. I've been to a few, but I've never been to Mindanao. You know, it's like I don't think I'll ever be able to travel Mindanao because Dazzle doesn't want to go to Mindanao. But I've traveled pretty much most of Luzon, most of Visayan. I've traveled Western, Central. I haven't been to Leyte or Samar, Eastern Visayas. So that might be a next target for me. Arable means land you are able to plant. Oh, okay, arable. I've just never heard that term. Thank you, arable. You can plant. Yeah, I always, it shows you how much I know about land. I thought you could pretty much plant anything on any land, but now I'm understanding that the soil has to be fertile, and I think the land that we bought in Katiklan, I think is fertile because like they're taking pictures of the bananas, the papaya, the eggplant. Everything seems to be growing. Guava tree, everything seems to be growing on it. So it must be arable, suitable for growing crops. So hopefully our land there, that wasn't even the plan anyway for that land. You know what I mean? It's good that it's growing, but eventually, less than 3 years now, when I get my Social Security, we will build like a tiny home there, like a 1-bedroom tiny home, and I'm gonna spend the money. That's why I want to wait. I have some saved up. We could start the project now, but I want to wait. I want to make sure. I don't want to like skimp on the project. I want to make sure that when we start the project, it's gonna be like a tiny out. Kind of like what you see on TV, that tiny home movement in the U.S. I want to build something like that there. That's gonna be like with solar. I might even fully solar it. That's why I want to wait till like I get my Social Security, and then maybe a rain catchment system. So I want it to be like off-grid type. I've always dreamed of like living like that, living off-grid, living van life, but I never got to experience it. So that would be my kind of like a off-grid, self-sustaining house that I'll build there on our land in Katiklan. It's in a good spot. I love the spot because it's up on a hill, so I'm not worried about no tsunami or and from the hill down, you come down, there's already a cement road, there's a right of way, so it's not like I gotta traverse through like a jungle to get to it. It's right on the main road. If you walk down the main road, I've filmed it before. If you walk down the main road, it's 5 minutes to the beach, and it's the port where people take people to. It's a Tabon port where people take people to Boracay. So that's gonna be like, I think, our dream home, dream vacation home, or dream location for Dazzle and I. because more likely it'll be just Dazzle and I that will live there. Leanna's gonna be going to college here in Calibo, live in this house here. More likely it'll be Leanna and the other nephew that's gonna go to college with her needs, and then mom. They'll be at this house, and then Dazzle and I will be in that house. But I didn't want to start the I could, I've been debating whether to start the project now, but I didn't want to like get tight on money. It's like I have money to use for it, but projects here in the Philippines, when you start it, they kind of get carried away. It's like you're thinking, well, I'm going to spend 40,000. Next thing you know, you're like 40,000. It's not even halfway done. I didn't want to get into that bind. It's like I want to at least start the project when I'm receiving my Social Security. That way, if every month all my Social Security goes to that house, I'm good with that. I'm good with that because it's money that we don't have now, so it's not like something that will affect us. We can still live our life here a while. It's not going to be big, probably the same size of our home here, probably like 40 square meters, about 430 square foot, a 1 bedroom. We were thinking of putting like a guest lot, make it a high ceiling, put like a guest, like a loft bed, so if Leanna visits, she can sleep there. And then the top, we wanted to make it a deck so we can look, up on the deck, because it's up on a hill and you can see the ocean from it. You can actually see Boracay if you build it high enough, because the one house near to us is 3 stories and they can look at Boracay Island. So that's kind of like the dream, it's a dream. Hopefully we'll make it happen here in the next less than 3 years from now. You can always dream, right? Dreaming is free. It's like it doesn't cost any money to dream. Something to look forward to. For Dazzle and I. Keep features of arable land, productive, fertile, cultivatable, favorable. Yes, good. Thanks HD. Hi Ginno, are you from Aklan originally? Oh no. Good question though. I'm originally from Manila. I was born in Tondo General Hospital in Tondo, Manila. One of the roughest places in Manila. And then we lived in Tondo till I was like 5 years old, and we moved to Quezon City. And then when I was 12, my mom and I, we immigrated to the United States, and then spent my years in the United States, high school, military, 20 years in the military, 7 years in Arizona before I finally headed back. But I'm not from Aklan Province. The only reason I ended up here in Aklan Province was Boracay Island. When I was in 2010, when I did my recon of the Philippines, trying to figure out where I was going to stay, I visited Boracay, Baguio City, Tagaytay, Angeles City, and Subic. Those were the 5 places I visited in the Philippines. I was trying to come up with a place to come to the Philippines, and my top 2 after that trip was Boracay Island and Baguio City. So when the 2011 came, I went to Boracay Island, where I lived there for like 18 months. I lived in Boracay Island before I decided to move here to mainland Aklan in Calibo. But I did not know anybody when I moved here to Aklan. I knew my landlord, and I knew my landlord by emailing. I found the ad in Boracay. Back then, it wasn't, it wasn't like now. There's more ads online, but I just took a chance. I saw the email. They were advertising. I emailed the person. She emailed back, and I said, I want to reserve. It was just a studio apartment in Boracay on Station 3. It was called Casa Camelia. Her daughter's name is Camille. So I said Casa Camille. And then it was 10,000 pesos for a studio apartment. It wasn't much. The apartment wasn't much. It had a 1-burner stove, gas, propane, tiny fridge, and like a dormitory fridge. It had a bamboo couch and a bed, but I liked it because it was on Front Beach. When I opened my door, about 30 meters away, I can see the ocean. So to me, that was just like it was a dream for me actually, because we all wanted that dream, right? To live by the beach, just walk to the beach every day. I was running on White Beach every day, swimming in the ocean almost every day. So I was able to fulfill that dream. Tanuki, Switzerland. Wow, Switzerland. That's one country I would love to visit someday. Switzerland. It looks amazing in videos. I never got to go to Switzerland. Thank you, Tanuki, for joining the live stream. Thank you so much. HD, Charlie, he was from Luzon. Yes, I'm from Luzon, from Manila. I'm born and raised in Quezon City, Metro Manila, but my province here in the Philippines is actually Bulacan, which is not far from Manila. It's kind of like attached to Manila, and they're building like the new international airport actually in Bulacan. In San Rafael, Bulacan is the home of the Tagalog language. That's where Tagalog, the national language of the Philippines, it comes from Bulacan. The people in my province in Bulacan, man, they speak like really deep Tagalog. Even I can't sometimes understand the Tagalog they speak, but good people. I took Dazzle to my relatives in Bulacan in 2022. Ate Bet, hi Ate Bet. Yeah, all my relatives are so nice there because I remember them when I was a kid. When I was a kid growing up in Manila, my summer vacations was spent with my relatives in Bulacan. My mom would let me stay with my relatives in Bulacan. So all my relatives, we were like little kids, 7, 8 years old. My playmates in the province, I got to see them again. They were so happy to see me too. So happy. And it was fun because like I went to the house. One of my grandma's house there had this kaimito, star apple tree. And I remember as a little kid, we used to get fruit from that tree, and that tree was still there, and we were able to get that kaimito. Those are experiences to me. That's what makes the Philippines fun for me. It's like I've enjoyed the Philippines since I've been here, just because of those kind of experiences. Being able to reconnect with childhood relatives, childhood friends, eating from that same tree that I was eating from like when I was 7 or 8, and I'm eating the same fruit, and I can taste this. Everything was the same. It was like throwing me back in time, and those are the kind of experience here that I treasure. It's like, and usually it involves like good family members. It's like when you see them, you're just so happy, and they're so happy to see you, and they're like, "Oh, you were that little kid." Just a fun experience for me. And I'm glad I'm able to share it with Dazzle. I'm glad I'm able to share that with Dazzle. Daniel, hello, all my Panay Posse brothers. All right, Daniel. I saw your messages, Daniel, on my messenger, but I haven't been able to answer. This was the first thing I did when actually I took a shower already. That way I'm ready to go to Rojas. I just need to pack a quick backpack. But I took a shower already, then to do this live stream, and then after this live stream, I'm sure Dazzle will wake up. Where is here? U.S.? No, Tanuki. I'm here at in Numancia, Aklan in Western Visayas, here in the Philippines. I did live in the United States for over 30 years. I lived in the United States. I went to high school in the United States, joined the military, 20 years, United States Air Force. That's why I wear like a lot of Air Force shirts. By the way, this shirt came from my good friend Joel in Arizona, near the Grand Canyon. He lives like in Parks, Arizona, near the Grand Canyon. Thank you, Joel. I love the shirt, man. It's like really comfortable. I love the material. And then after living 30 years in the United States, I decided to retire back here in the Philippines 14 years ago now. I was 45 years old when I moved here in Aklan province, and I've stayed the whole time. I've been here for 14 years, going on 15 years soon here in Aklan province, and I love it here. This is my final destination, my final resting place. I just love everything about Aklan province. It's a province life. Now that I'm older, I'm 59. I just enjoy the peacefulness here, far away from the life that I growing up in Manila, moving to Los Angeles, going to high school in Long Beach, traveling different places in the United States. This lifestyle is just what perfect for me, because it's the quiet, peaceful province life here in the Philippines. The Philippines. The Philippines. Tanuki. He's from Bulacan and QC. All right, Fortune. All right, thank you, Fortune. Numancia Aklan. Thank you, HD. Thank you. Never been to the Philippines. You need to visit, Tanuki. You need to visit the Philippines. Philippines is beautiful. There's so many islands, so many beautiful places here. If you like the beach, if you like the mountain area, Philippines has everything except snow. We do not have snow. We do not have snow I have yet to hear snow here in the Philippines. Maybe ice in Baguio. The freezing temperature sometimes it freezes the leaves and stuff, but no snow here. Waiting for a call to meet a buyer at my units. So this is all right, Daniel. Good luck, Daniel. I know you're trying to get rid of that stuff in your storage unit. Good luck, my brother. Nursing earns more, or nursing earns more. Yes, Fortune. That's what I'm pushing, Leanna. But they also, depend. I'll enroll here in nursing, but they also have medical technologists, like the lab people, and radiology. Medical technologists caught my interest, but I think Leanna wants to wear the nursing uniform. She wants to be a nurse. She sees like that cap with the nurses wear the whites, white shoes. I think that's what really sold Leanna on the nursing, is the uniform. That we're working towards it. She's improving her math. She's improving her reading and her English. Kumon has been a great help. Thanks again, Fortune, for convincing me with Leanna with the Kumon. She's going on 1 month now on Kumon, and we're gonna press on. I like the progress. I like the progress of her Kumon, and she likes it. She enjoys it, because what we have now, Fortune, what we do is like Tuesdays and Friday. 2 days after I pick her up at school at 4, we go directly to Calibo, and she spent like an hour and a half at the Kumon, Tuesdays and Friday. We were gonna do Saturday, Fortune, but they got too many kids there on Saturday. Leanna says she gets distracted because there's a lot of kids. It's a decent sized room, but too many kids go there on Saturday. So that's why we decided on Tuesday and Friday. They get a lot of government money here in Switzerland. Oh, I'm sure. And I know that Swiss banks, I know, I'm sure there's always a big scandal here with like government officials, unfortunately with that. Good morning, hey, my good friend Lawrence. Good morning and happy Saturday from Parañaque. All right, Lawrence. If you're a farmer, you learn to be efficient at the farming. That's the disconnect that the general population have with where their food comes from. Yeah, I think most it's like, like me, I'm just starting to learn more about farming. I never, I knew it. You see it, you see the farming, but like I'm learning from James, from James and Karen's Adventure, because when he talks about farming, when I watch his videos, he talks about the land. I'm learning from him. I didn't know a lot of the things, it's like. Enjoy your bowling photos. All right, Lawrence. We're probably gonna do. That's gonna be probably one of our family nights now. Is the bowling because I used to be a decent bowler. You know, I used to when I was in Japan for 4 years. I bowled in bowling leagues. Familiar with bowling. I haven't bowled in like 9 years. In the lanes, you know, you have to ball. You know, have to play with their. You know, I don't think they have a. I'm sure there must be a way maybe in Iloilo, but I know in Calibo, if you want your own ball, your own gear, I don't think they have that. They just have the house bowling gear. Uh, you know, when I bowled in league in Japan, I had my own bowling bag, locker. I had like two separate balls. I had my shoes. Here in Calibo, I don't think you can even buy it. Uh, I would have to probably go to Iloilo City to get like if I wanted my own bowling gear. I'm sure they have a better bowling lanes anyway in Iloilo City. This bowling lane in Calibo, I'm just happy they have it. You know, and it's actually been closed for many years. They renovated it, and so now it looks nice. Renovated, it looks really nice. Only 6 lanes, you know, only 6 lanes. But it's the lane itself is like new. You know, it's like a really nice, well oiled. You know, it's like a good place to bowl. So we'll probably do more bowling because that was Mom and Leanna's first time bowling, and they had fun. They had really fun, and that's all bowled before. Again, in the same lanes back in 2016 we bowled, but they had closed it, and it was closed all the way through the pandemic. After the pandemic, they just opened the bowling lanes. I would say 3-4 months ago. That's why I was seeing people posting on Facebook. I said, hey, I told Dad, hey babe, let's try bowling. You know, it's like because I've always enjoyed bowling, so I know we'll make that into like one of our family night bowling. In South Africa, they deleted and evicted the Puti farmers with severe discrimination. Now they're asking for them to come back because they can't produce crops. Yeah, I'm afraid that's gonna be the problem here in the Philippines someday, HD, if not happening already, because you know that new generation, they don't want to be in farms, you know. And you know, not that I can't blame them because farming is tough work, you know, for little money a lot of times. Unless you own your land. I'm sure that's how you make money is if you own your own land. But a lot of times people here don't own their own land. It's like the hacienderos, the big families here own hectares and hectares of land, and you're like renting or working for them for peanuts. You know, it's like the rich people are the one getting rich. The local, the ordinary guy is not making any money. You know, wish the government would help them. You know, something to give them land that they can farm, that it's their own land. But I'm sure that's going to be a problem here in the Philippines where we're going to have less and less farmers, because every time I go out, like on Bumblebee, on my tricycle, when I'm just riding around, I'm seeing like the farmers. It's mostly older gentlemen. You know, it's usually like I said, 50s, 60s, even 70-year-old. You don't see many like 20-year-old, you know, on the farms. Farming is always a risky, but it needs to be a big operator to make a good profit. Yeah, like Edgar. That's why it's like the owner, the haciendero, the big landowner, he'll always make money because he's got he's got many workers working on the farm. He'll make money. It's the farmers that are not making any money. Yeah, they take the risk, you know. They take the risk too. They're, you know, if something happens to the crops, a drought, and that happens here in the Philippines. As much as it rains right now, or raining during rainy season, there was, I think 2 years ago, there were drought conditions here during the summer. There was like, they had like brush fires, you know, crops were dying and wilting because there's no rain. So that you know, they are taking the risk, you know. That's why they're also making the big profit. Facing a time crunch to get everything out of my large unit, 10 days and counting. Good luck, Daniel. Keep at it. You got 10 days, brother. Keep up, you know. Maybe you have to reduce your prices. Maybe you have to reduce your prices on some of your things. That way you can get rid of it. Absolutely. I don't want to be a farmer. My little garden is hard enough. It's hard enough, right? You know, it's like mom has like a little garden now going here. She keeps adding too. She'll get like a potted and then potted clay soil. She got like ginger, tomato, pepper, papaya. So she's adding to her little garden out here. Hello. Big army style trucks are called deuce. Oh yeah, thank you for that. I forgot about that term. I have heard it, deuce and a half, 2 ton, right? Two and a half ton truck. I have 5 ton, but I have heard that deuce and a half term before, Daniel. It's been a while. You know, it's like I've been out of the military now, Daniel. I retired in 2004, so I've been out of the military for 21 years. So some of the military terms I don't hear anymore. It's been a while. But deuce and a half, I remember hearing that. It was the neighboring country of Zimbabwe that had the reform where they violently evicted the Puti. There is a big you know, I know in Africa there's always like civil war between warlords. That's always like, that's how, you know, disasters happen, like, you know, like they're just like annihilate a lot of people. Most of the sugar haciendas were owned by Iloilo barons who migrated there in Negros because it had better land for sugar. All right, thank you, Fortune. I remember going to Haro in Iloilo, Fortune, and seeing the old, you know, they're ruins now. They're ruins now. But I did see like the mansion of the hacienderos, the big landowners. And you can tell back in the day they were like massive cement, brick, you know, like a massive mansion. But now they're like ruins because nobody lives in there now. Like maybe over 100 years ago, it was a nice mansion, but it's still there. When I was walking around Haro district in Iloilo City, I saw that. You know, I took pictures of it. I found it interesting near the Haro Cathedral, So I know, you know, I know what you're talking about the sugar barons of Iloilo and the sugar barons of Negros. I'm sure they got rich. You know, You know, Filipinos love sweet. You know, Filipinos love sugar. Tanuki HD. No, HD is not from South Africa. HD just likes to read. You know, he's well versed in all over the world. He just likes to read. Edgar, Daniel, I got 5 boxes I'm saving here, and I got 2 big suitcases that I'm taking. That's all I have left. All right, Edgar. See you soon, Edgar. See you this week. Edgar's gonna be on that plane. I'm gonna pick him up this coming Thursday in Katiklan Airport. Maybe one day the beaver can buy produce from J. Oh, not right. That'll be a nice connection. You know, that'll be a nice connection. Once James and Karen get their farm going, they got tomatoes now. They got eggplant. They got string beans. James knows what he's doing, so he can mass produce. In the 1900s, the Philippines was world's biggest. Ooh, I didn't know that, Fortune. I didn't know that. I could see that, though. I can see that. I mean, you can see remnants of it, right? In Negros, there's so many sugarcane fields. In Iloilo, there you got sugarcane fields in Iloilo. No, but I'm familiar with the politics that happened there. And now South Where are you from? UK, parts of Europe. I grew up in the US, but my family roots are where host this show is currently living. Yeah, HD, he knows the language, the dialect here in Aklan province. We can't grow lots of rice in Switzerland, just a little bit in South. Hey, all right, there's like a Kip Merriman, my good friend, and my brother in Tucson, Arizona. Good to see you. Good to see you on the live stream, Kip. Edgar, hope one day to be like you. Mostly done. LOL. You will, Daniel. You know, you'll get there, Daniel. You know, patience, Daniel. That's you know, that's good that you're experiencing that now. Patience. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need it here in the Philippines, man. It takes a lot of patience to live here in the Philippines, especially if you're coming from the United States. It's a big transition. Lots to adjust here in the Philippines. Like yesterday, here we did not have power outage here in Numancia, but my friend Gray at La Casa Española, he's staying at La Casa Española. They had an all day long power outage because we were on the road going to Numancia to pick up Liena, and they were replacing like power poles, power lines. So there's a section, it just happened to be the section where La Casa Española is at, that they were replacing like wires. So they have to cut electricity in a certain grid, certain area of Calibo. And we picked up Gray, I think, to go to the gym yesterday, about 10:30, I think. Yeah, 10:30, because I did the live stream 10:30, and he did not have electricity for 12 hours, at least 12 hours yesterday. And unfortunately, La Casa Española doesn't have a generator. So that is his first experience with a 12-hour power outage. The good thing is we took him around. We went to the gym at 11. We went to lunch at the seafood area in New Washington, Aklan. You know, he had shrimp. What else? Seafood did they eat? Dazzle had fish. Dazzle had I think mamsa fish. I forgot in the English version of mamsa. Good sized fish that Dazzle had, steamed. Like Dazzle like the steamed mamsa fish. So we did that. Spent time there by the seawall, picked up Liena at school. After Liena at school, we went to Calibo. We even had a foot massage. We had a foot massage. All three of us. Liena had her cleaned her feet. She didn't want the foot massage, but her nails clean. You know, didn't paint it. You know, just cleaned her nails, cut her nails, clean her nails. So we were just kind of killing time for Gray because he didn't have electricity. So there was enough for us to do. Then finally we dropped off Gray at La Casa Española, and the power was still out, he said, for another 2 hours. But at least he didn't have to suffer that 12 hours. And that's the thing. You know, usually the power outages like that are scheduled because the Akelco, the Aklan Electric Company, they'll make an announcement, hey, your area's not gonna have electricity for 12 hours. So you can plan things. You can go fishing. You can go to the beach. You can, you know, keep yourself busy for that day so you're not in your apartment for like the whole day. That happens, you know. It would happen, I would say, maybe once every 2 months, the schedule. It used to happen almost every month, like here in Numancia, but lately we haven't had one. Mom, I don't remember a scheduled power outage now for a couple of months now. It's just like that. Maybe they've done a better job with like the replacements that they have. Because here the problem I see is they still use wooden power poles here. So, you know, it's wood. You know, here at Camellia, they have metal. They have metal power poles. So these things, you know, last longer than the wood. And the wooden power poles, of course, over time it gets wet, it gets, wood damages, and then they keep adding lines to it, like internet lines, I don't know what other power lines, whatever they add, and it gets too heavy, and then it buckles. It like breaks. It's like a toothpick. When it breaks, you see them, like crash down. So they have to do preventive maintenance. Edgar, then January or February you will be arriving. Yes, yeah, I think that's the schedule. That's the schedule for Daniel. Poland and Portugal. Wow. Fortune, it says, we are alike. Luzon, been to Baguio, La Union in the north, south, and Sorsogon, western, Visayas, but not eastern Visayas and Mindanao. Yeah, this is the same, Fortune. Those are the two areas that I haven't traveled. It's eastern Visayas and Mindanao. Pretty much hit everything, most places anyway on the other parts of the Philippines. It arriving in PH around mid-March. All right. Daniel will be arriving after my 10-15 day stop vacation in Tokyo. All right. Enjoy Tokyo. That'll be fun, Daniel. Wikipedia, European farm. I am shopping now for tickets. All right, good plan, Daniel, that you're shopping for tickets now because cheaper. You can get the low, if you wait longer, the tickets have a tendency of going up. Especially March. March is summer here. There's a lot of travel to the Philippines during the summer months. We get a lot more tourists in the Philippines during March, April, May. Those are summer months here in the Philippines. That's the busy time for tourists arriving to the Philippines. I ended up way overpaying for my ticket. Oh, sorry to hear that, Edgar. But you're on your way, man. You got your ticket. It's like. What was your ticket cost? All right. Most tickets to Tokyo is shy of $1,500 and goes to well over 2K. But you're coming from Florida. Daniel. That's a long way. Florida to Tokyo. That's a long way. So I could see it 1,500, 2,000. I can see. If you're coming from California, you might be able to get 1,000, 1,200, But I can see how it can be expensive coming from Florida. All right, Tanuki, thank you for joining the live stream, Tanuki. Welcome to the channel. Well, I say, but do not make fun of me. It's all 3 stars. All right, well, your business class though, Edgar. That's understandable. It's like I know people that fly business class. That's about the range. That's about correct range. My friend from Las Vegas, when he flies here with his wife, they always fly business class, and I know it's not cheap. I've never flown business class, so I wouldn't know. But I know it's not cheap. I know not cheap to fly business class. Thank you, Daniel. Hi, Ginno, your friend from. All right. The heart of our home, Oceanside, California. I love those beaches in Oceanside, California, San Diego area. All the way, I'm a Southern Cal person, so I just love that all the beaches, from Long Beach, Seal Beach, Huntington, Newport. I've been to all those beaches. When I was living in Long Beach, I used to surf, and that was the thing. It's like hitting all the surfing areas in Southern California. Great memories for me of Southern California. That's about 1K more than average business class ticket. Yeah, it's the same thing here. It's like when you wait too long when you purchase a ticket here, it's the same thing. Prices usually like you can get 4,000 to 5,000 pesos like domestic travel pretty much anywhere in the Philippines. But if you're traveling last minute, they jack it up to like over 10,000 pesos. Oh, I'm so far behind. Okay, I gotta speed up. My bad. My bad, HD. Man, I thought I was doing good, man. I thought I was good. I gotta speed up here. But I got time. But I'll speed up. I'll speed it up. Thank you. Thank you for the heads up. Thank you for the heads up, HD. Month ahead, but month ahead. That's why it's expensive. That's why it's expensive, Edgar. Now I can see why. Because a month ahead. 7:28 in the Philippines. Let's mark the time when Ginno reads the message. So we know how far oh, thank you. Appreciate that, HD. So now I know I'm about 24 minutes behind. I'm 24 minutes behind, so I gotta speed up. Michael Manalastas. My eldest daughter did Kumon and became a Kumon instructor. Wow. When she was a senior in high school. Awesome. Liana loves it so far. And I'm glad because anything to improve, her academic, I'm all for that. Good morning, Bill. Nice, Michael. I want one of those the coconut bowling balls, the green bowling ball that Dazzle had. They had street interview asking the modern woman about the concern with many small farms going out of business. There is a who cares. Oh dang, who cares? Yeah, well, it is what it is. HD, the youth of America it is what it is. But hopefully we can still turn it around in the U.S. Man. LOL. Part of the backbone of national security is farmers and agriculture. Yeah, you can, we don't want to be reliant on other nation for what we eat, right? At least that's, even though they're, here in the Philippines, I know I've seen articles where we have to import rice, now that we're buying rice for other countries. There's people here, there's enough, people here like plant their own, so they can eat, eat their own food that they plant. So, and prices hasn't gotten terribly high here. Cost of living is still low. Drop all the prices about I paid in taxes. All right, good strategy. Hear ya. Daniel is having a fire sale. Hell yes, Daniel's having a fire sale. Too funny. Because the guy who's helping me sell is a fireman. That's funny. Vegasville, guy. Good morning, Vegasville. Can't believe I didn't get notification you were on. I don't know what's going on with the notification, but it is what it is with YouTube, man. I know sometimes you get notifications, sometimes you don't. You go to the Beaver, you don't go to the Beaver. I do most of the time. Every time I've been in Roa City, every time I go to the Canadian Beaver. But today, because we're with our friend Gray, I'm not guaranteeing it just because he doesn't want to go, so. And he's my guest, he's Dazzle's and I's guest. So we do what he wants because he's our guest. I do want to at least stop by, but I don't drink, so it's not like it gives double meaning to the phrase fire sale. Yeah, I used to sell their liquidation because selling at very low prices, I remember the fire sale. Over time, it's just commonly used selling heavily reduced prices. Have a great day. All right, have a great day. Watching. Oh, wow, the Xfinity of Bristol. All right. I'll have to watch the replay, Brian. I have to watch the replay. Ginno, just to let you know, seems like lots of us, more than 2 months for me, are not getting any type of notifications. All right, well, it is what it is, man. It's like, I'm sure you guys got ring that bell thing. I'm sure, but it's like that's a YouTube thing, I think. It's like I'll just keep doing it. Hopefully you guys can catch. I do the live streams often enough. It's a lot of stuff going on YouTube, like internally. So it's the method that I get the live streams, the videos. So I got to work with what I got. So I didn't get any notification either. I just went online after a long day and happened. Oh, all right. And I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything to my setting or anything. The only thing I did on the setting, I removed the moderators, and I had a list of over 100 people banned. So I allowed them to get into the channel again. But that's all I've done. So maybe I've heard about like a shadow ban. I have heard about something about shadow. I got to research more about shadow ban, that they're banning some of channels like on YouTube, but they're not notifying you. That's why they're calling it shadow ban. But who knows? Who knows with YouTube, man? As long as there's people watching, I think we got enough people watching. It's not. The main thing is like the people, HD, Daniel, the regulars. It's like Edgar. I haven't seen JP, so he's not getting notified. But at least we got the regulars still watching the live stream. That's at least we're able to communicate this way. Did the eTravel app work? Okay, we're waiting. We're waiting on Edgar because Edgar's getting on the plane soon. In a couple of days, Edgar's getting on the plane. So we will know if the app worked for Edgar. My eTravel app works. All right. But we'll know for sure if it works for Edgar when he comes. And I will interview Edgar. How did that process go, brother? How did that process with the eTravel app went? So I'll report on future live stream because he is flying here in a couple of days. Edgar will be flying here in a couple of days. That's awesome. All right, so I got to the bottom. I got all of a sudden I'm all caught up with the comments here. I'm going to go zombie on. Oh, you're gonna go zombie, man. No, I'm trying to think if I had Wagyu beef. I probably had maybe when I was stationed in Japan. Maybe I ate Wagyu beef, but not recently. Not here in the Philippines. Like the last 14 years here, I have not eaten much beef here, Wagyu beef, or I've not even eaten a steak here. I've eaten the last steak I ate, like a full-blown T-bone steak, was 2016 at Cowboy Cocina was the last time. I just gave up on steak just because it's expensive. Steak is expensive in the Philippines, and usually the quality is just okay. It's not like the best steaks that I've eaten. They come from Australia normally, so they're frozen a lot of times. So frozen steak have a tendency of losing something, but it's not a big thing to me eating steaks. I had my share of steaks. I've lived in San Antonio, Texas before. When I visit my sister before in Houston, Texas, I've had good steaks. So not part of my. Ruben's back in the Philippines. He's in Angeles City right now. He always makes a pit stop in Angeles City before he comes back here to Calibo. I just got a message from him. He sent me money for his cable bill. so I pay Ruben's cable bill for his apartment. So that's why I said, anything, when you're here in Calibo, I can assist you more because I'm here, and there's nothing we can't do. If there's something I don't know, we can find out the answer. That's why it's good that, at least when you come to the Philippines, if you come here to Calibo, you have a friend in me, right? You have somebody that will guide you, and I never charge any money. I don't do that. I just want to help. I know how difficult it is of a transition from the United States to the Philippines. So at least if you try Calibo for a couple of months, that soft landing, I can at least introduce you to the Philippines, introduce to like the culture, the way people are here, explain to you the difference. You know, a lot of things get lost in translation, you know, American culture to the Filipino culture. Even for Philims, like even for Filipino Americans like HD. You know, if you haven't been here in a while in the Philippines, you know, the culture is like dynamic here too in the Philippines. It's changing. It's changing. That the old way you think in HD, where you know the oldest member of the family's got to support the siblings, got to support the parents. All that is like the dynamic is changing. You know, it's like it's not the same anymore. Is what I'm noticing. Like, you know, I grew up in the 70s, and the dynamic of, you know, family, it's still there right now. You know, family's family, but there's a lot of pushback now with like the newer generation. You know, they're like telling their parents, "Hey, stop having kids. You can't afford us." You hear stuff like that anymore. You know, back in the day, HD, right? Back in the day when I was a kid, you don't talk to your parents back or anything. You're gonna get smacked. You know, now the newer generation, you know, and part of it I can't blame them. They see, maybe before in the Philippines in the 70s, if you have a big family, 8, 9 kids, because most of the jobs back then were rural, most of the jobs are fishing, most of the jobs are farming, you got employment for 8 or 9 kids. But now this generation, they're listening to like the Western style life, you know, where, you know, maybe I'm only gonna have 2 kids. Maybe I'll only have 1 kid because that's all I can afford. You know, it's like, because now, not many are working in the farms. You don't need that many bodies to work in the farms, not like they used to. Now, the jobs are at the mall. The jobs are a call center. The jobs are in the offices, the banks, you know. So, they're, I know that like the average like Filipino family is shrinking like anywhere else. I think that's the problem with like Japan, the United States. That's a problem in the United States. You know, less and less people are having kids, and that thing is coming to the Philippines now too, because it's just, to me, it's just reality. You know, you can't afford having more. You know, if you're a Filipino now, and even with both husband and wife working here in the Philippines, to raise 2 kids is already a struggle. So, you know, the days of like 8, 9 dozen kids, yeah, I think that's over in the Philippines. And you know, you do still see it because, you know, the poorer people here in the Philippines, you know, that's all they know. You know, that's what they see. Having kids is like, you know, unfortunately, because that keeps them more poor. You know, and then you see people just like, you know, the poverty, the cycle of poverty. You know, that's what you see with poor people. But the people that are educated, that are starting to go to college, like my classmates is a perfect example. I have about 30 or 35 classmates that we all had bachelors of information technology degrees. Very few of them got married. A lot of them are single, you know, and they're in their early 30s now. That wasn't a common dynamic before. Before in the Philippines in the 70s and the 80s, by the time you hit 25, people are getting married, having kids. Now, this generation, they're already early 30s and they're not having kids because they can't afford it. They can't afford to get married because they can barely support themselves, you know. So that's that different way of thinking now, different way of thinking. That's awesome. You had a great time here. Yes, yeah. I mean, my memories, you know, I was still young, you know, was when I lived in Southern California. I was a teenager, all the way up before I turned 17. So that's my youth. I spent my youth in Southern California. Many hours at 7-Eleven. You know, I used to play those video games, the Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, the Centipede, the Galaga. man, high score, trying to hit the high score on one quarter, drinking my big gulp slush, the slushy, or what was that called? Or the soda, you get the ice on the soda and you just kind of mix the soda, like you put Sprite, you put Coke, you put like, I don't forget what we called for that soda, but you just mix the soda and you would sit there playing the video game with your big gulp, I had a great teenager years, and I actually, if you remember that movie Karate Kid, the first Karate Kid, remember that golf and stuff in that movie, the golf and stuff, Ralph Macchio and Elizabeth Shue, they were like at that golf and stuff. I used to go there. That was like what my favorite hangout, my teenager year. We used to go to golf and stuff, golf and stuff, like putt golf and video games. I remember that place. That's why when I see the movie still, when I still rewatch the Karate Kid, the original, the first one, I'm like, hey, golf and stuff, I know where that is. Like my friend, me and my friend Gray, we're like same generation. We were like, we were embarrassing Dazzle because we were having cafe at this coffee shop, and we were just talking, and all of a sudden we're like singing, right? All these like movies that we know, like, because Gray is like, that I guess that's why we became good friends. So we were singing like songs from Grease, Grease Lightning, go Grease Lightning. We were doing that, and Dezo was like, "What am I hanging out with these two dudes?" And then we started. What else were we were just singing movies in the '80s. That's my generation. Most of the movies in the '80s, I know songs on it. I know the characters. I'm a big movie person, big music person, but I realize I'm an 80s guy. I'm stuck in the 80s. So most movies, most music in the 80s, I would know. I'm the MTV generation. So when you talk about movies in the 90s or 2000s, I watched it because I just like movies. But my generation was like, we were talking about St. Elmo's Fire. We were talking Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful, the John Hughes movies. I mean, I could tell you all those movies, all the characters, all the, I remember them. It's my generation. That's why me and Gray, we have such a great time, because when we're hanging out, we're talking about those movies and all the things we had in common. That's not the way to eat Wagyu beef. You want the fat to render so that the meat will melt in your mouth. Get the way recommended by the chef. I'm almost sure I ate it when I was in Japan, because I remember, they have places in Japan when I used to go to Tokyo and go to like those restaurants where the chef is standing right there and he's making your beef. And then, like, I remember how it melted in your mouth, because they cook it for you. They cook your rice for you. They cook everything for you, and they hand it to you. I remember how, man, that was the best beef I've ever eaten in my life. But I have not eaten like that, since my days in Japan. I lived in Japan for 4 years, so I experienced a lot of things there that very memorable. Hopefully I can share with Dazzle one day. Hopefully I can take her to Japan. If she ever decides to fly again. If she decides to fly again. Actually, I think it did my ticket. It said only thing they need is my onward ticket. That must show at check-in. All right. Fear Nanay's Chinelas. I know, right? Nanay's Chinelas. And I know, like in the province, my Lola, I remember in the province, she would like get a branch, like a branch of stick, like a little thin branch of stick, she'll like pull it out of a tree, and that's what she would smack us with. So we were boys, how boys are, we're like climbing trees where we're not supposed to climb, we're like playing in areas where we're not supposed to play. So my Lola would like a switch, like a thin stick, a branch, and she'll like break off the leaves and stuff, and she's like, come here, lagot kayo sa Lola, lagot kayo sa Lola. Kids will run when they see. Yeah. Chanelas in hand. HD, what's your favorite Ninja Turtle movie? I watched the Ninja Turtle, but there's so many of them. I can't remember them now. You know, it's like to me the Ninja Turtle. I watched them, but they wasn't my favorite. Wasn't my favorite. But I've seen it. I've seen the. I ate Wagyu. Like I said, most of my movies that I like the 80s the John Hughes movies. I love those. I can watch those today. You know, it's like Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful. You know, like the characters I remember on what's that? Pretty in Pink is like Long Duck Dong. You know, they got some funny characters, and it's like. Richard, hi, how are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good, Richard. I ate Wagyu, said, I ate Wagyu beef with wasabi. Oh, I've never had it with wasabi. I've only used wasabi on my sushi, but I haven't tried Wagyu beef with wasabi. I didn't think they go together, but it was amazing. Oh, wow. Yeah, I've never had it. I've never had wasabi with beef. Always like with sushi or sashimi, I'll put like wasabi. Favorite scene in Never Ending Story. I've seen that movie, but I don't remember much about the Never. I know it's like that Never Ending Story was that you know, fairy tale kind of thing. But man, it's been a long. I guess I don't remember movies that don't really grab me, that I don't have good memories. But you asked me about St. Elmo's Fire. You asked me about those movies. I'll remember. I just don't remember, like, you know, there's so many, you know, like sci-fi movie, or so many like fairy tale kind of movie. And I think that's more like in the 90s already. That's why, like I said, you know, I'm an 80s guy. You ask me 80s music and 80s 80s TV series, or you know, ask me about like the Laverne and Shirley. Ask me about the Happy Days. You know, that's my generation. You know, I'm older than you, HD. You're like, I think you're in your early 40s. You know, I'm 59, brother. You know, it's like we're on a different generation. I'm starting to doubt that you're the 80s kid. These are 80s kid movies in the 80s. But I remember that you grew up in the Philippines, that 80s American kid. Okay, you know, like I said, you know, when I came to the U.S., came to the U.S. in 1978. So when I came into the U.S., I was watching reruns. You know, maybe there were reruns, kids in the U.S. that watched that, like in the, you know, in the 70s. Like I said, I watched SWAT. I watched $1 Million Man, $6 Million Man, The Bionic Woman. I watched, and then in the 80s, you know, I would still watch a lot of reruns, because when I was going to school, I graduated in 1983. I was watching reruns that were like that I never got to see before, like Leave It to Beaver reruns, or I Dream of Jeannie reruns, Gilligan's Island reruns, Knight Rider. I know the Knight Rider, the German guy, the guy that became Baywatch, the Baywatch dude, Mike something. And I'm not good with names, HD, unfortunately. I'm 59, brother. Take it easy on me, brother. I'm like, you know, 59. My memory's not the same. Wait till you turn 59, HD. You'll find out how the memory kind of fades. The memory kind of fades, brother. But I understand, you know, I know you're just trying to, I know I've seen Baywatch with Pam Anderson, all that, Michael, I know it's a curly guy, you know, he became famous, but Knight Rider's like a Kip, that guy, ring, 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 his car, like, so I did watch that, like I said. And then when I joined the military, of course, HD, when I joined the military in 84, you know, I still watch TV, but it's not the same. I didn't have that much time. When I was in high school, I could watch all the movies. Man, when you're in the military, you still watch, but not as much. Oh, Growing Pains. I remember that show with Michael J. Fox. MacGyver. I watched MacGyver, man. MacGyver was a show that I watched. But like I said, HD, these are like in the 80s that I watched. I haven't watched them in many, many years. Probably like 20 years I haven't watched. So for me, my memory is not the same. It's like, unfortunately. And I think when I went through cancer treatments, that even affected my memory. I'm not a sharp. I don't think as sharp as I used to. Uh, one of the effects of chemo treatments is, I guess, fog in the brain. There's just times where I'm trying to think, and I know it's so easy. I know that it's something that I should know, but I can't think of it. Like the A-Team. I love the A-Team, Mr. T. I pity the fool. I pity the fool. That's my generation, HD. That's the 80s for me, man. I watch a lot of shows. Later on in life, The Sopranos, I can tell you all about The Sopranos. And now Breaking Bad, I can tell you Breaking Bad. Movies, there's certain movies that I remember, but man, I can't know all the movies spot on. I can't Google everything, it's like I watch so many. Sometimes I get confused of what movie, what actor. I get confused of did I watch that? Was he the guy in? Was he the actor at the Band of Brothers, or was he the actor at We Were Soldiers? It's all mixed in my brain now, man. So Mr. T was your favorite A-Team member? I like the chains. I like I'll pity the fool. I remember all the chains. Mr. T used to have the chain. What was that guy? There was the boss, of course, and then the crazy one. See, I can't even remember the characters. I could not tell you the characters. The only character I can remember from the A-Team was Mr. T, because his character was memorable. I think Hannibal was the other character, their boss with the cigar all the time. But for HD isn't giving you a chance, Ginno. I know. HD is hard on me, brother. I know he's hard on me on these because I think because I mentioned before that I'm an 80s guy. I love I love TV shows. I love movies. And so HD is always hitting me with this movie reference. He'll point out a movie reference, and I'm supposed to remember it. It's like, dude, I'm like, he'll put a quote on a movie or a quote on a series, and I'm supposed to remember it. Dude, I'm 59 years old, man. Wait till you're 59, HD, and you'll find out, brother. You'll find out that the brain doesn't function the same at 40 than when you're close to 60. It's just, it is what it is. It is what it is, brother. And I'm just I know you're giving me a hard time. It's all good, brother. It's like, all good. Not, it's like I said, I can take it, HD. I can admit that I'm old. I can admit that I'm old. I can admit that my brain doesn't function. You're not hurting my feelings. I know it's the things that Americans do. I know it is. My friend Gray, you should hang out with Gray, man. He constantly gives me a hard time. He always I thought you knew this. And I'm like, dude, it's but I understand. I understand the Americans' humor. I do understand. We had the movie reference during deployment to kill time. It made the time go faster. Yeah, I didn't go to many deployments like you, HD. And most of my time in the military, I stayed at military bases. I stayed at Clark Air Base. I stayed at Korea. Most assignments in the Air Force. The only people that really deploy in the Air Force a lot of times are the planes, the jet mechanics, and there are medical personnel that deploy with them, because there's always a flight surgeon, there's always aeromedical technicians that deploy with them. But a lot of us hospital people, we don't deploy. We stay at the base we're at because we're supporting a whole base. If you have a base like Misawa Air Base, there's thousands and thousands of troops there, Navy, Air Force troops on that base. we can't just deploy. We have a certain amount of people that we have to, we have to have a certain amount of surgeons, certain amount of X-ray techs, pulmonology techs, lab techs. Very select that they deploy. I'm not a golfer, actually, so I never play golf. So you can accuse me of playing golf in airports because I'm not a golfer. I don't play golf. It's all good. It's all good, my brother. All right, I got to the bottom. I thought I was really behind, but now I'm at the bottom of. And I hear Dazzle's awake now. I hear no hard feelings, HD. I can take it, bro. Like I said, man, there's nothing you can say that would hurt my feelings. There's nothing, I know how. I was in the military 20 years, brother. This is mild what you're doing to me. You know the military when we joke. I mean, there's cussing involved. There's like foul language involved. I understand that. No worries. No hard feelings at all. I do hear Chloe coming down, so there's Chloe right there. There's Chloe right there. Hey, come on, baby. Toy. Chloe can't get down because of Totoy. Oh. Oh. I had to pick up Chloe because Toto was blocking. There's Dazzle.
Hola, señorita.
Hola, señorita. Good morning, day.
Morning, Jay.
Love you, babe. Chloe is right on time. I know it's right on time. It's like we're supposed to leave. Oh.
Oops.
All right. That holds my my thing there. I'm gonna put this.
All right.
It's okay. I'm almost done anyway. Yeah, that's good, babe.
Oh.
HD said, "Good morning, sunshine, Dazzle."
Good morning, HD. How are you today?
That stairs is so steep. Oh yeah. Trust me, Southern Cal Benny. I know this is steep stairs. I guess because it's a small home. It's only like 430 square feet. There's only I would count how many steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 7 steps. But it's steep, man. It's steep. It's like unfortunately when we were buying the house here. This was the only 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It had to be up and down. The only single-story home here is like 1 bedroom, and Dazzle and I, we wanted 2-bedroom. And Dilly. Good morning, Dazzle. Everybody's saying good morning to you, babe.
Oy.
Yeah. I got a message from.
Good morning, guys.
I got a message from Gray. It popped up in there, so
Yeah,
everything's all good. We'll get him at. Oh, there you go. Chloe always barks 1 bark. Always wants 1 bark. That means she has to go in.
I need to take a bath now.
All right. I already took a shower, babe, so I was ready. I just gotta pack a backpack. What are you looking for? Just Lara's birthday. That was the whole purpose of our trip, because Lara and Dazzle, they have a connection. Lara is like attached to Dazzle. The minute she sees Dazzle, she's gonna be hanging out with Dazzle. The last time we saw her, we're always the one like we end up babysitting Lara a lot of times when we go hang out with them. Like when we're at the Canadian Beaver, we're always kind of watching Lara. But like today, I'm not sure if we're gonna go to the Canadian Beaver just because my friend, he's not an expat kind of guy, hang out with the expats. So he told me he doesn't want to go, So for me, it's like he's my guest. So he's like, I do want to stop by, just to see the place, but it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. We'll go to the party. I'll see Mike and Kat, so that's the main thing. I'll see James and Karen there, I'm sure. Ray in the Philippines, I'll see him at the party. David, I'll see him at the party. So there's people I'll see. Most of the people that after the party, I'm sure will go to the Canadian Beaver. So it's not like I won't see them. So. And my friend didn't want to go to the party because he's not invited anyway, right? I'm invited and Dazzlin's invited to the party. So that would not be cool for me to like bring somebody. Even though in the Philippines, that's common practice. Like when you attend a party here in the Philippines, you can bring as many people as you want and the people won't get offended. That's just a Filipino thing. But, Michael and Kat, they're Canadian, more Western style. You just don't show up at somebody's party like, who's this guy? It's like here in the Philippines, when you attend a Filipino party, man, you can bring as many people as you want. The host won't mind. That's like a common thing. All right, I got to the bottom. Anyway, we're getting close to 2 hours here, so I'm gonna end the live stream. Dazzle's awake, so we're gonna pack up, pick up our friend, and head over to Rojas City. Thank you everyone for joining the live stream. Appreciate it, HD, appreciate it. Hope I see you again on future live streams. And again, thank you and have a good day. Have a good day, everyone.